Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the studio for episode 4 of our first module. We have already covered the translation trap and learned how to build phrasal blocks and map them onto your physical world. But today, we are going to talk about the primary reason people stop making progress. This is Module 1, Episode 1, and we are talking about why you must stop overcorrecting.
Before we begin, we'd like to ask our listeners for a small favor. If you enjoy our Chatcast and find it helpful, please click the like button for this episode and subscribe to the English Chatcast channel.
Good point, Anna. Liking our episodes and subscribing to our channel ensures that we can continue to offer valuable content in the future.
I am so glad we are diving into this overcorrecting topic today because it's the #1 killer of fluency. It is the silent enemy that sits on your shoulder and whispers in your ear every time you try to open your mouth. People think that to learn English perfectly, they need to fix every tiny mistake immediately.
It is actually the complete opposite. Your brain is like a river, but a river can only flow if the path is clear of obstacles. Every time you stop to fix a small grammar mistake or a preposition, you are putting a giant rock in the middle of that river.
Right.
Eventually, the water stops moving entirely. When you are constantly overcorrecting your English, your brain literally freezes. It becomes physically impossible for you to maintain a natural rhythm.
We have all felt that freeze. You are talking to someone and you know the message you want to send, but your inner teacher starts screaming about the third person singular S or the past tense of an irregular verb. Suddenly, your heart starts beating fast, and your mind is a complete blank. You feel like you have forgotten every single thing you ever learned because you were too busy trying to be perfect.
That is the perfectionism trap. It is a psychological wall that goes up when you feel like you are being judged by yourself. When that internal pressure is high, no amount of knowledge will help you speak.
Exactly.
But when you give yourself permission to be messy, when you are relaxed and having fun and ignoring the small errors, the English flows out of you effortlessly.
So today, we are going to show you how to silence that inner teacher. We are going to show you how to protect your flow from the parts of your brain that want to turn a conversation into a grammar test. This is a vital part of the blueprint for effortless English.
The first rule of stopping overcorrection is to prioritize the message over the mechanics. Most students are constantly monitoring the mechanics of their speech. They are looking at the gears and the wires while they are trying to drive the car.
Yeah.
This is like trying to enjoy a movie while staring at the individual pixels on the screen.
You are just going to miss the story if you do that. You have to step back and look at the whole picture. You have to trust that the car will move even if there is a tiny squeak in the engine.
Exactly. From now on, when you speak, I want you to give yourself permission to make mistakes. Your only job is to get your point across to the other person.
Right.
If you use the wrong preposition, but they still understand you, that is a massive victory. The correction will come later through listening, not through stopping your own speech mid-sentence.
This is a very big shift for people who grew up in traditional classrooms. In school, you are often punished for mistakes. If you say go instead of went, the teacher stops the whole class to fix it. But in the blueprint, we do not stop the class. We keep the conversation moving because movement is the only way to reach fluency.
The second rule is to realize that self-correction kills the listener's interest. If I am talking to you and I stop every 3 words to fix a verb, it is very hard for you to follow my thought.
Right, totally.
It makes the listener feel uncomfortable.
They would much rather hear a few mistakes and a smooth story than perfect grammar and a broken rhythm.
You have to find the sweet spot of communication. We call this the flow state. This means your English should be a continuous stream of sound. It should be interesting enough to keep the listener engaged and fast enough that you aren't overanalyzing your own choices.
That is why we designed the Chatcast the way we did. We speak naturally, and we don't stop to explain every tiny detail. We want you to feel the momentum.
Yeah.
That feeling of momentum is the best fuel for your brain. It makes you feel like an English speaker rather than an English student.
I think we should talk about the inner critic again. That little voice in your head that tells you that you sound stupid or that your grammar is basic.
Oh, that voice is the ultimate enemy of the blueprint. The inner critic is the one who holds the brakes on your fluency. To stop overcorrecting, you have to ignore that voice.
You have to realize that native speakers do not care about your minor errors nearly as much as you think they do.
It is true. When I talk to someone who is learning my language, I am not looking for mistakes to fix. I'm just looking for a connection. I'm trying to understand their ideas.
Right.
If they say he like instead of he likes, I do not even notice it most of the time. I am focused on the human being in front of me.
So, how do we actually stop this habit at home? One of my favorite techniques is the 3-minute blur. For 3 minutes, I want you to talk to yourself or a recording device, and you are forbidden from stopping.
Wait, Ben, that sounds terrifying for a lot of people. They feel like if they don't stop, they are just practicing bad habits.
I know it sounds terrifying, but hear me out. You aren't practicing bad habits because your brain already knows the correct version from all the listening you were doing.
Okay.
What you are actually practicing is the courage to keep going. You are training your brain to ignore the error and prioritize the flow.
So you are saying we should let the mistakes happen so the rhythm can survive.
Exactly. When you prioritize the rhythm, the mistakes eventually iron themselves out because you are hearing so much correct English in our other episodes.
Right.
But if you stop to fix the mistake, you never build the rhythm. And without rhythm, you never get fluency. It is the natural result of letting go of control.
I love that. It makes so much sense. If you remove the pressure to be perfect, you can focus entirely on being present. It is like a weight being lifted off your chest. You are just sharing your thoughts, and the English is just the vehicle for those thoughts.
Another key to stopping overcorrection is understanding the difference between conscious knowledge and subconscious ability. Grammar rules live in your conscious mind. Fluency lives in your subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is very slow. It cannot keep up with a real conversation.
If you try to use your conscious mind to speak, you will always be too slow. You have to trust your subconscious to grab the phrasal blocks we talked about in episode 2.
Right.
When you overcorrect, you are trying to force the slow part of your brain to do the job of the fast part.
This is what we call the monitor effect. You are monitoring your speech too much. Your brain thinks it is just having a good time, but meanwhile, the monitor is acting like a strict police officer.
Yeah.
We need to tell that police officer to take a vacation.
We really do. The traditional methods have made people so afraid of making a mistake that they have a police officer living in their throat. We have to lower that monitor by making the communication more important than the accuracy.
Let us talk about the physical feeling of overcorrection. Where do you feel it? For most people, it is a tightness in the throat or a tension in the jaw.
Definitely. I tell my students to check their bodies when they speak. If your jaw is tight, you are probably overcorrecting. If you are holding your breath, you are definitely overcorrecting.
You want to associate the sound of English with a feeling of physical relaxation. When you are relaxed, you don't care about the small mistakes, and when you don't care about the small mistakes, you speak more.
Right.
And the more you speak, the better you get.
This is the secret to long-term success in this 50-episode course. Most people quit because they make the process too painful. They make it a constant battle against their own errors.
But you cannot win a battle against yourself by attacking yourself. You have to win it with acceptance.
I remember a student who used to stop and restart his sentences 5 times because he wanted the perfect tense. He was so focused on the grammar that he never finished a single story. We spent 2 weeks just having him tell stories badly, on purpose.
And what happened to him?
He realized that he could still make me laugh and keep me interested even with bad grammar. Once he felt the joy of communication, he stopped caring about the perfection.
Right.
And strangely enough, once he stopped caring, his grammar actually improved because he wasn't so stressed.
That is a beautiful story, and it is the heart of what we are doing here. The blueprint is a mistake-friendly zone. Anna and I make mistakes in our own lives all the time. We are here to talk to you like human beings. We want you to feel that same freedom every time you practice.
So, as we continue through this first module, let us look at the big picture. We have given you the tools to rebuild your entire relationship with English. You are no longer a victim of translation. You are a builder of blocks. You are a mapper of actions. And today, you are a defender of your own flow.
You have everything you need to succeed. The mindset is shifting episode by episode. In the next few episodes, we are going to start working on how sound works compared to logic. But for now, I want you to just be okay with being messy.
Yes, be messy. You have finished 4 episodes. You are still here. That is a huge accomplishment. Most people never even start because they are afraid of looking foolish. You have already moved past that fear just by listening today.
Your mission for this 4th episode of Module 1 is very simple. I want you to go into the comments and tell us one mistake you make often that you are going to stop worrying about today. Is it the letter S? Is it the word the? Is it using in instead of on?
We want to know what you are letting go of. Tell us the grammar rule that you are going to stop overcorrecting. Let us create a list of things we are allowed to get wrong so we can focus on getting the message right.
And while you are there, take a look at the other comments. You are part of a global community of messy builders. You are not doing this alone. Support each other and share the relief of not having to be perfect for all 50 episodes.
We will be in the comments reading your lists and cheering you on. We are so proud of the work you are doing and the courage you are showing by choosing flow over perfection. This is just the beginning. We have 46 more episodes to go, and each one is going to take you higher. But for today, just speak, just flow, and just enjoy the feeling of the blueprint freeing your voice. No overcorrection allowed.
I am so excited for the rest of this module. The topics coming up, like the speed of sound versus logic, are going to build perfectly on what we have discussed today. We're going to make sure your flow stays strong, while your logic takes a back seat.
It really is about the balance of letting go. But before we go, we want to remind you of the most important rule of the blueprint.
What is that, Ben? What should they remember above all else as they go through their day?
Fluency is not the absence of mistakes. Fluency is the ability to keep going despite the mistakes. Your errors are just evidence that you are speaking a second language, which is a superpower. Treat them with respect, but don't let them stop the show.
That is so true.
every mistake is just a sign that you are active and engaged. Keep being active, keep listening, and most importantly, keep being effortless in your delivery.
Ben, do you think they realize that even native speakers overcorrect sometimes, and it makes us sound less confident?
Oh, absolutely. If a native speaker is nervous, they start overcorrecting and they lose their charisma. Confidence comes from accepting that the message is bigger than the words.
Right.
When you stop fixing yourself, you start being yourself.
I can feel it too. The energy in the comments is changing every day. People are moving from anxiety to excitement. That is the moment where fluency becomes a reality.
Mm-hmm.
When you are more excited to share your story than you are afraid to make a mistake, you have already reached the blueprint goal.
Excitement is the ultimate overcorrection killer. When you are excited, you are focused on the destination, and you don't worry about the small bumps in the road. You are like a driver on a beautiful highway.
That is what we want to foster in every single episode, that sense of freedom and speed. English shouldn't be a puzzle you have to solve perfectly. It should be a song you get to sing.
We are definitely going to do that. I have some great examples planned for the next episode that are going to show just how much logic gets in the way of natural sound.
I hope they are ready to let go of their logic for a bit. It is going to be a fun challenge, but a very rewarding one.
Anna, before we go, I just realized we should probably tell them what to do if they see someone else making a mistake.
Oh, you mean the temptation to be a grammar police officer for other people?
Exactly. If you want to stop overcorrecting yourself, you have to stop correcting others. It is all part of the same mindset.
That is a great point. If you judge others, you will fear their judgment. If you are kind to others, you will be kind to yourself.
Most people who overcorrect themselves are the ones who were judged the most in the past. We need to break that cycle by being the most supportive community on the internet.
And if you see someone making a mistake in the comments, don't fix it. Just respond to their message. Focus on the connection.
That's the curate your focus part of the sanctuary. Focus on the person, not the grammar.
I think they are ready. I think they have a solid understanding of why the inner critic needs to be fired.
Episode 4 is officially in the books. Great job, Anna.
Great job, Ben. And great job to all of you at home for choosing to be messy and brave.
We'll see you in the next one where we dive into the speed of sound versus logic.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Anna.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like and subscribe. Feel free to leave comments about the Chatcast. We love hearing from you. Until next time, keep practicing, keep listening, and remember, learning English with us is
A piece of cake. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next time on the English Chatcast.